In northern Greece, where the Aegean Sea meets rugged cliffs and dense forests, lies a land unlike any other, Mount Athos. This sacred peninsula, often called the Garden of the Mother of God, is a semi-autonomous monastic republic steeped in mystery, devotion and unbroken tradition. Home to 20 monasteries and around 1,600 monks, Mount Athos has been a beacon of faith and solitude for over a millennium. Its purpose? To provide a haven for spiritual seekers who wish to escape the distractions of the modern world and dedicate their lives to prayer, labor, and the pursuit of inner peace. The history of Mount Athos is as ancient as it is captivating. According to Greek mythology, the mountain was formed during a fierce battle between the gods and the giants. Athos, the leader of the giants, hurled a massive rock at Poseidon, the god of the sea. The rock missed its target, landing in the sea and creating the imposing mountain we see today. For Christians, however, the story carries a more sacred meaning. It's said that the Virgin Mary, en route to Cyprus, was forced to anchor her ship along the peninsula due to a storm. Upon stepping ashore, she was so moved by the natural beauty of the mountain that she prayed to her Son, Jesus Christ, to make it her garden. Her wish was granted, and the area became known as the Garden of the Mother of God. The roots of monasticism on Mount Athos trace back to the 4th century, when hermits and ascetics began seeking refuge in its remote caves and dense forests. By the 10th century, the mountain became a formal monastic community, its foundations strengthened by Byzantine emperors who sought to secure divine blessings through their patronage. Over time, Mount Athos grew into a spiritual hub for Orthodox Christianity, attracting monks, pilgrims, and scholars from around the world. Despite invasions, wars, and even Nazi occupation during World War II, the mountain has endured as a sanctuary of faith and resilience. Life on Mount Athos is guided by 3 core principles: poverty, chastity, and obedience. Monks rise before dawn, their days divided into 8 hours of prayer, 8 hours of labor, and 8 hours of rest. Their work varies from farming and icon painting to bookbinding and preparing herbal remedies. Everything they do is seen as an act of devotion. They grow their own food, eat no meat, and live without modern comforts like televisions or radios. Even their sense of time is different. Mount Athos uses the Byzantine calendar and a 24-hour clock that begins at sunset, aligning daily life with the rhythms of nature and prayer. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of Mount Athos is the law of Avaton, a millennium-old rule that bans women from entering the peninsula. This extends even to female animals, such as cows and sheep, which are prohibited to ensure an environment free of distractions. Critics view this as outdated and discriminatory, but for the monks, it's a sacred tradition rooted in their spiritual practice. They believe that the presence of women would compromise the sanctity and focus required for their way of life. While this law has sparked debates, especially within the European Union, it remains a defining characteristic of Mount Athos. The monasteries of Mount Athos are treasure troves of history and art. Their walls are adorned with Byzantine frescoes, mosaics, and centuries-old icons, while their libraries house rare manuscripts and sacred texts. These treasures are not kept behind glass or in museums. They are part of daily worship, used and venerated as they have been for hundreds of years. Pilgrims who visit often describe a profound sense of awe and spiritual renewal, as if stepping into a living piece of history. Despite its isolation, Mount Athos is not entirely untouched by modernity. Solar panels and occasional smartphones hint at the creeping influence of the outside world. Yet, the monks remain steadfast in their traditions, viewing even small changes with caution. They see their way of life as a fragile ecosystem, one that could be disrupted if too many modern conveniences or ideologies were introduced. Visiting Mount Athos is not easy. Access is strictly regulated, with only 110 visitors allowed per day, 100 Orthodox Christians and just 10 non-Orthodox. Even for those granted permission, the journey is a challenge. The only way to reach the peninsula is by ferry, and once ashore, the rugged terrain must be traversed on foot or by mule. Yet for many pilgrims, these hardships are a small price to pay for the opportunity to experience one of the most sacred and mysterious places in the world. For the monks, death is not an end, but a transition. After their passing, their bodies are buried, and their bones are later exhumed, washed with wine and olive oil, and placed in ossuaries. This ritual serves as a reminder of life's impermanence and the ultimate goal of spiritual purification. It's a practice that underscores the profound sense of humility and detachment from material existence that defines monastic life. Mount Athos is more than a place. It's a living monument to faith, history, and the enduring power of tradition. For over 1,000 years, it has stood as a sanctuary for those seeking to escape the chaos of the outside world and connect with something greater. Whether viewed as a relic of the past or a timeless refuge, Mount Athos continues to captivate and inspire all who encounter its story.